Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tea Time. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Isa. Many people regret doing something in life, whether it be something as small as choosing the wrong answer for a test or something as big as losing someone in their life.
So in this episode, we decided to ask people what was the thing they regret most in life.
First, we talked to Nati, who gave us an inside look on the regrets with her family life. What is your biggest regret in life?
I would say my biggest regret is probably when I was younger, I wasn't close to my family as much, and growing up I had divorced parents, so having that equal back and forth consistent relationship with my parents when I was a little younger, so probably that.
If you could go back and change that relationship, would you?
I wouldn't, because if it wasn't for where I was, I wouldn't come out to where I am today, so I wouldn't change it.
You regret the decision, but you're glad it happened because it shaped who you are today and where you are.
Exactly.
How different do you think your life would have been if your decision back then never happened?
I don't think it would have been that different. At the same time, there's some things that would have changed.
If you're comfortable sharing, what type of things would have changed, do you think?
I think because my parents, I'm not with more one than the other, so I think sharing things that I wouldn't normally share, like my friendships or grades in school or what's going on, a little more things that they don't see, they would know a little more going on, because I wouldn't really open up as much to my parents. So maybe they would know me more than they would normally see at home.
Do you think they know you more now, or are you still a bit distant from them?
No, I'm definitely now way more open with my parents and my siblings, more than before, for sure.
And you're really close to your older brother, right?
Yes, I'm very close with all my siblings.
Were you more close with your parents or your siblings?
It's kind of went both ways, because I wasn't really talkative when I was a little younger. I kept everything in. Kind of think it went both ways, but more with my mom, actually, because I wouldn't have as much in common as her and all that, so probably more with my parents than my siblings, but it could go a little bit both ways.
Just out of curiosity, why do you think that you've been closed off to your parents and your siblings if you were ever closed off to them?
I think it's because I'm the youngest in my family, so I'm kind of not, and I've always when I was younger, I wasn't the most open, and I feel like when I was younger, I felt like they would focus on all my other siblings, and I would kind of just there, because I was always the youngest, and I'm the youngest by a lot, almost 5 to 6 years. So I felt like I was kind of not as, and then all my other siblings are the same age, so I kind of felt like I was a little in the shadows, but not obviously not now. So maybe that.
Do you think if you were one of the older siblings that you wouldn't have been so closed off?
I don't know, because I feel like that's just my personality a little bit. When I know someone, I'm very open and honest, but at the same time, if I don't really know you, or that's my personality, so I don't think it would have really changed, but I don't know, might have, but in my opinion, I don't think so.
You said that you were closer to your siblings than with your parents, right?
Well, now it's I'm close with everyone, but before I was kind of close to my siblings more than my parents.
Yeah. Was there better communication within your siblings than with your parents back then?
Before, yeah, I would talk to my brother a lot and talk to him more about school or friends. And I would never really talk to my mom about any of that, because I don't know why, really. I don't know why I didn't open up to her as much than my brothers, for to say.
Did you think that you lacked the communication within your family?
I communicated, but not about the important stuff to me at the time. So the communication I had, obviously, I didn't obviously just close them off completely and didn't talk to them completely, but I just wouldn't open up to the specific things that were specific to my life during the time, because I was younger and I dealt with a lot of bad friends and that stuff, and I would never really talk to my parents about that. Really, I would just talk about, they would be like, "Oh, how's your day?" And I'll be like, "Okay, it's good." And then they would ask me, "Oh, do you have homework?" And that's kind of it. It's not, I would completely closed off, but there was still some communication, but it was just more the important stuff for me that they should have known.
Are there any regrets that you've ever had that you wish you could change?
Actually, that question's very hard. I don't think so, really, because if everything happens for a reason, and I don't think there's really any regret. If I regret it, it's probably something small that really is important. I don't really think there's anything that I regret, because I like the person I've become, and probably those decisions made me into the person who I am, so probably not.
I know you believe that
Yeah.
things happen for a reason. But if you were given the chance to change one instance that you wish could have gone differently, what would you change about it and why?
Okay, I would change being friends with a specific person, being friends with a group of people in my new high school actually, because of they weren't the nicest to me. Actually, I was turned on and it was not the best situation. So probably being friends with these people, I would probably like change that and not have been friends with them or got involved with them.
Again, like you were saying before, was this one of those instances that you feel shaped who you are today?
Actually, yeah, because I felt like they took like advantage of me a little bit and it taught me like it doesn't really matter because I have amazing friends now. You guys know, I have really good friends now and it shows me that some people are just not nice and it's taught me to be careful, not trust people, but obviously like take time into getting to know people and then see if they're really like to be like a part of my life or something.
So would you say you're a person who's very careful now when you choose friends? Like you close yourself off to a lot of people, but when you meet your true friends, you open up to them a lot and you get close to them?
The thing is, I feel like my personality is very like do care a lot about people. I'm very nice. Like these people still try to talk to me, ask me for things, but obviously there's like a part of me that wants to say, okay, yes, because that's just who I am. So I'm kind of a little guarded, but not a lot. I would say just a little bit, but obviously my personality comes in. The caring part of me would come in and say, I feel bad for this person or have sympathy for them. So I kind of have a little like a guarded, but not as much.
Would you say that it's easy for you to trust people, or is it more difficult for you to trust people?
I feel like just depends because obviously like we have like social media now and everything and there's always like rumors and everything. There's obviously some people that right away I'm gonna be like, oh, I don't trust this person because I hear this and that. At the same time, I would really really trust someone now once I get to know them and like talk to them, just how like with Sophie and all these people that I've just recently met. And obviously it takes time, but for me to really really trust someone, it would take time.
What impact do you think that social media has on people our age or if any age nowadays that the coronavirus is in effect and that we have nothing better to do than post things on social media, whether they be true or not?
Has a big impact because if it wasn't for all these things, I wouldn't be able to talk to like some of my friends or anything like that. But also it kind of has like a bad impact for like obviously people posting all these things and about especially like the riots and all that stuff. And obviously I've not gotten involved with it and I don't want to, but I see it all over. And it kind of goes both ways because social media can be like a nice thing where you can see some things that you like and talk to your friends, but at the same time people are kind of changing because they're just posting whatever they want, and then obviously people are going to have a different view on them. It kind of goes both ways, but I feel like social media has really big effect because people don't really have anything to do right now, and I feel like everybody's on Instagram and Snapchat and posting about we're doing on a daily, and it's just sometimes you kind of need to keep your life private also for your own personal safe and just not post everything.
Would you say you are a more public or a more private type of person?
I would say I'm kind of actually in between because I have social media and I don't post a lot, but at the same time I have like Snapchat and all those things that I post once in a while. But at the same time I don't like posting what I'm doing every day or anything like that. So I kind of do like if I see like something funny or want to share it with like a bunch of people, I would post it on my Snap story or something like that. But at the same time I wouldn't share everything that I'm doing or like personal whatever I'm going through with people I don't really even know that I have on social media.
So you kind of post not your daily routine, but like the more important things that you'd be willing to share with the public.
Yeah, I would if something like the thing is I wouldn't share anything. I would not share anything personal with social media. I think that's why we have our friends and family in person, but not or anything like that on social media that I would share because obviously people like numbers and the numbers of having this many followers and that. So people gain these followers, but at the same time those people they don't know these people. So what's the point of sharing your life with these people and they don't even know you and they can take advantage of you? I would post like more fun stuff or something, like let's say something funny happened to me. I like might post it on something private so only a certain amount of people can see it. It's just, oh, this silly thing that happened to me. But I would never post anything like, oh my God, someone in my family died, or like, oh my God, like this issue in my family, or like anything like that. I would never post that.
Do you think it's wrong when people post personal things like that?
I don't think it's completely wrong because let's say, I feel like maybe it can be a way of someone's outlet, because let's say if they don't have the family or anything like that, they can reach out on social media and asking for help. So at the same time, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to post your personal beliefs or whatever's going on, because I feel like some people don't have that. What I have like is the family that I have and to talk to people. So I feel like social media can be their way of like reaching out, saying, hey, this is going on, if anyone can help or something like that.
How about internet or YouTube, TikTok, whatever it may be, like internet influencers? How do you think they play a role in influencing other people and how much they post, or even a certain standard they may have to live by?
I think because I definitely watch a lot of influencers on YouTube and TikTok and all that. I watch a lot of people, and it depends because some people are very good with their words and how they do things and how they present themselves to the public. But I see some people really don't take advantage of the platform they have and saying this, like, let's say right now, like the Black Lives Matter, let's say, like some people are not taking advantage of their platform, and I feel like they do have the advantage because they do have a lot of people watching them. So they should take that place and say, hey, this is going on and something like that. So they should take, and a lot of people do, which I appreciate. And like a lot of people that I watch are saying like, hey, this is going on, and that, like that.
Next, we interviewed Brianna, who was able to tell us how she regrets not spending enough time with the people who influence her.
What is your biggest regret in life?
My biggest regret in life has to be when I lost my grandfather, not being able to spend as much time with him as I wanted to. That really affected me because when I lost him, I was young, so I really didn't embrace all those times because I didn't know that you could lose someone and how bad it would hurt when you did. So I definitely think that's one of my biggest regrets in my life.
Knowing what you know now, if you had the opportunity, would you go back and change it?
Yeah, absolutely. I would change it because when you lose someone, that's something that you can never get back. And that was one of the hardest times I can ever imagine. So if I could go back to that point in my life where I could spend time with him and just take in all those moments with him, I definitely would go back.
Were you very close with your grandfather?
Yeah, I actually was. My grandfather was one of the was the only person besides like my dad and stuff like that I can go to. And every time I was sad or every time I was not having my best day, he was always that one person to bring me up and say everything's gonna be better. Or like if I said that, oh, I don't feel pretty today, he'll always make me feel like I'm the prettiest girl in the world. And it's like every time I would talk with him and have a conversation with him, it was just always the best time. And I loved him so much. It was like there was no one to replace him ever.
So your grandpa, you guys were very close. Do you think that you could ever have the relationship you had with him with somebody else? Or do you think that was a one-time thing?
I definitely think that it was a one-time thing with that experience. But with my dad, it's as close as it's gonna get with my dad as my grandfather, because when I see my dad, I always see a reflection of him. So I feel like in the situation I was in or am in, I feel like that's a one-time thing. But with my dad, it's as close as it gets. Like every time I look at my dad or I talk to my dad, I see my grandfather. So
What type of man was your grandpa? What was
my
his personality?
my grandfather was a hardworking person, and he loved his family, and his family always came first. Whatever he did, he would always make sure that his family was okay with it, or that his number one priority was always his family above everything. So, but at the same time, he was hardworking. He provided. He was loving, which I really looked up to. Even when he got to his old age, he still managed to do so much for our family, and just impacted me so much. And I looked up to that every single day. Like, the person he is is someone that I want to be when I'm older, the way he was.
Would you say he's a role model to you?
Definitely. I think he's one of my biggest role models, even if he's not here with me today. I always feel like he's looking down at me and everything that I'm doing, that he's always so proud of me because I'm reflecting him. So I definitely think he's my biggest role model.
How has having him as a role model helped you become the person you are today? Like, if you didn't have him as a role model, do you think you would have been the same person you are today, or be as proud of your accomplishments?
If I did not have him as a role model, I don't think I would be the person I am today. I definitely wouldn't been as confident as I am now, because when I was younger, I wasn't confident at all. Like, I would always doubt myself. I would think I'm ugly, and it was like I would say it, and people would think that I would say it for attention and stuff like that, but I would actually believe it. And he was the one person to tell me to, like, lift me up and stuff like that. So I definitely, if I did not have him as a role model, and my confidence booster and just there, I definitely wouldn't have been the person I am today. It would have affected me, and not in a good way.
Do you have any other role models in your life that you live by their example?
Yeah, I have my dad and my stepmom. I look up to them every single day, every one of their accomplishments. Every time I get to spend time with them, they're definitely one of my biggest role models, especially my dad, because he's been there for me since birth, basically. He is someone that I admire with all my heart, and someone that I can come to with anything, and he's just always been there, and he's not going anywhere. Yeah, he's definitely my role model with my stepmom.
Do you think that if you didn't have a person like like your grandpa or your stepmom in your life, that you'd have turned out different?
Yeah, I definitely think I would have turned out different. I feel like I would not be as happy as whenever people were sad, they would always try and lift people up. And my stepmom does that currently. Like, whenever she sees someone sad or something, she always lifts them up. She has such a kind heart, and she really passed that on to me and with my grandfather as well. So I feel like if I didn't have him in my life, I definitely would not be as happy or as confident, like I said, ever. I wouldn't.
Do you think the example and the values that they put in you have affected what you want to do in the future, like as far as a career?
Yeah, kind of. Originally, what I wanted to be, I was young and stuff like that, so I was like, oh, I want to be a singer and I want to be famous and stuff like that. And that was kind of like just a dream. And my grandfather's like, when you're a singer and stuff like that, you help people, but you also benefit yourself and stuff like that. Just like 2 years ago, when I've been with my stepmom, I've seen what a kind heart she has, and I've admired criminal stuff, especially since my dad is a lawyer. So I've looked into all this stuff, and I realized that I want to be a criminal investigator. And some people are like, oh, you see dead bodies all the time, but it's more than that. You figure things out. You If someone passes because of a situation, you figure out what happened, and then with that you can go to the family and tell them exactly what happened and be there for them. It's such a kind thing to be there for a family that has just lost a loved one, no matter what circumstance it is. So I feel like I want to be a criminal investigator solely because I get to figure out exactly what happened, like pinpoint everything. And in addition to that, I can help out the families that lost their loved one and be there for them and provide for them if they need anything. So I definitely think that my stepmom impacted that a lot because of her kind heart and her love for all people.
Are you set on being a criminal investigator, or do you think that'll change in the future?
No, I'm definitely set on being a criminal investigator, not only because you know how people say, like, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. I go by that, and I had to think a lot about my decision, and I definitely think I'm set on being a criminal investigator because that's something that I love to do. Like, I love figuring things out in the criminal area, and I love helping people and being there for people. So I definitely am I'm set on being a criminal investigator.
Last but not least, we interviewed Marissa, who told us about her regrets with her childhood best friend.
What is something you regret most in life?
The one thing I regret is not talking to a friend from elementary that I've known since kindergarten. We've been really good friends since kindergarten, and I think like we'll talk sometimes, but then other times I want to text her, but then I'm like, oh, she probably won't respond to me. She's probably doing something else, and I'll leave her alone for the moment. But then looking back at it, I think to myself, I should have texted her. I should have checked upon her because we've known each other for a very long time. And kind of breaking off that friendship from someone you've known for a very long time, that's something that really, personally, I've never done. But thinking about it now, I know that I should text her and just to see how she is, because in times like this, you never know how someone's doing. It's good to check up on people that you know. So I think that's probably like the one thing I regret, not being able to talk to her more. But at the end of the day, she's still my friend. She's still somebody I've known. So I think that's something that I regret.
Was there a specific reason as to why you broke off the friendship, or you just didn't talk to them as much?
The last time I saw them was in 8th grade for her birthday party. That was really like the last time we talked to each other. Like I have her phone number, and there's a lot of, as a friend, I completely forget about her birthday sometimes, and that's kind of like a bad thing. But not seeing her in a couple years, that's kind of been rough because we were good friends throughout elementary from kindergarten to 5th grade. And then 8th grade, we stopped really seeing each other. That was really the only time we physically saw each other in person. But at the same time, it's like I said, you have to, in times like this, you have to check up on someone that you know, because you never know what's going on behind closed doors. And that's the most important thing.
If you could go back and just maintain the relationship with that person, would you?
Definitely, because we've been friends. I'm sorry, I'm like repeating the same thing. We've been friends for a long time. And of course, I would love to maintain still having that friendship. I've known a lot of people for a long time, and I still keep in touch with them. But her specifically, I've been wanting to keep in touch with her for a long time. So I would totally maintain that friendship so that we know that we're there for each other.
What's holding you back from talking with them again?
Well, I think mostly it's I want to text her, but sometimes I won't get an answer, or sometimes she'll ignore me, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That's okay if she doesn't want to talk to me. But other times I'm like, maybe I should talk to her because we were really close, and I want to be close with her again. So I think that's the most important thing you can do. Like as a friend, you want to be loyal to that one person you've known for such a long time. As a friend, you really have to let this person know that like it's okay to tell you like how you feel. As a friend, you're supposed to help that person. You're not supposed to blow them off. You're not supposed to be like, okay, whatever. No, you have to help that person through everything.
How long have you guys known each other? You said that you knew her since what grade?
Since kindergarten. That's how long
Wow,
we've known each other.
since
Yeah, for a very
Wow.
long time.
Sorry, because I was thinking I kind of had like a similar thing happen to me, and I get what you're trying to say. Like with the whole, trying to maintain the friendship and stuff like that. There was someone I was really close with in elementary school, and then we even went to the same school, but we still drifted, which like I hope I was, kind of sad that we ended up drifting, but she's still a really nice person. Like we may not talk as often, but
Yeah, it's a rough thing. It's rough.
yeah, like no one wants to lose a friend.
Right, especially someone you've known for a very long time.
Exactly.
Is there anything else you regret and you wouldn't necessarily change because you feel that it's kind of shaped you in a way?
Sometimes I regret telling people how I feel about them because I don't want to hurt them. You have to be open with someone. You have to let them know how you feel about that person, because if not, they're going to think, oh, she doesn't like me. She thinks I'm a bad person. No, I don't think that my friends are bad people. I just want to be open to them, because I'm the type of person that likes to bottle things up, and that's not really good. But at the same time, you have to be open with that person. And I think that's another thing I regret, not talking to people about certain stuff.
So, Issa, now that we've gotten through all those interviews, what's something you regret?
To be perfectly honest, I don't regret anything I've done. Sure, I've looked back on stuff and asked myself, why did you do that? That was extremely stupid. But I wouldn't change it because I feel like things happen for a reason, and that it leads you to being the person you are currently. Even the minor things, So I personally wouldn't change anything I've done in the past. So I don't really have a regret.
Honestly, it's the same for me, except I do feel that I have regrets. I just wouldn't change them because I feel that everything happens for a reason and everything has its proper outcomes. So I do have regrets. I regret some things I've done or some situations that I've gotten into, but I wouldn't change them because they shaped me to the person I am today. So thank you guys for listening to another episode of Tea Time. I'm Sophie,
And I'm Isa.
signing off.
See you next time.